you know what? I'm going to be really nerdy because I opened all my other parts like this. And because the queues aren't bad anymore, I'm going to log out real quick. Why? Because we're going to watch the opening movie and title first. This is the opening to my VOD, and I just fucking love these videos anyway. So we're gonna watch this and be prepared, and also listen to this fucking banging tune.
Have come and gone since that day. How many years have I waited for this moment? For the one that stood alone against the storm.
Job change warrior 2.0.
What sayest thou, Master Matoya?
Toya.
We may accept this fate or defy it, but we cannot
Ryanje has some cards, and that's not Matoya, that's for sure. Toya's an old woman. Axe broken. Job change again. 3.0. Job change 3.0, 4.0, version 1 with Monk.
Until our friend returns, I will hold the line.
Stola will hold the line. Fat cats.
This town certainly has changed, and not at all for the better. I'm not going anywhere. I promise you, Minfilia.
Oh, Minfilia. It is Dante from Devil May Cry with a gunblade. Oh, Thancred. Crystal Tower, but the thriving town beneath it. That's weird. There's no thriving town beneath that. Hey, look! Bunny people! That's new and exciting for Shadowbringers. And Dancer. Bunny person Dancer. New job, new race. Crystal Tower doing there? Hey, look! It's our friend.
This tragedy, greater even than the seventh umbral calamity, must be undone.
Job change to scammer.
If history must be unwritten, let it be unwritten. Become what you must. Become the warrior of darkness.
Now it is time to become what we must. But why do we have to be the warrior of darkness? We're the warrior of light. That sounds counterproductive. We met some warriors of darkness. They were misguided. Though to be fair, they also flooded their world with light. That didn't sound too good. Yeah, so the TLDR on the Crystal Tower is that it's an Allegan construction, the ancient civilization that's long gone, that can hold like horrendous amounts of ether and had like clones in it, and there's a whole series of raids around it, and one of your friends ends up getting sealed inside of it, and it's a whole shebang. Whole shebang. Hi Tatru, I'm about to teleport you somewhere else because we're gonna start right now. Oh, that's not the right button. Vent. Look, we're really depressed. All of our friends are dead, and we just needed to channel some darkness, okay? Audrey was itching to share what appears to be good news. There's such thing as good news in this house. Good news, Kinliana. We've had a stroke of luck in our search for that beacon. Apparently our colleagues have stumbled across a hidden path leading down into the hollows around the base of the Crystal Tower. A path I doubt we'd ever have found had the Ironworks and the Suns not added their numbers to the party. Thanks to them, we have eager eyes aplenty down here, checking under rocks and peering into every nook and cranny. Still, it sounds like there's a lot of ground to cover. Better get going and give them a hand. My thoughts exactly. The sooner we find this beacon, the sooner you can travel to wherever it is this mysterious voice is coming from. And the sooner we can work out how to help our friends. We have to find a way to wake them up, and before the Empire comes calling again, meaning we have no time to lose. There's a boat in North Silvertier waiting to ferry people to the site, so let's be on our way. Edgy guitar quest accepted. This is an edgy guitar, bad news bears kind of home. My character has permanent depression. Everything's fine. All my friends are dead. Let's go see this old man so I can punch him in the mouth. Heading to the survey site, madam. It's on the eastern shore of the lake, and the swiftest way is to get there by boat.
Look how many people there are! Should we get to it then? Pick up anything that seems the least bit device-like, and we'll make ourselves a pile.
Well, if it isn't the hero of the hour, maybe you'll change our look. We've found bugger all without you.
Biggs! Wedge!
Aye, aye. Well, we could hardly say no to a call for aid from the Scions. Jesse called the chief for some other business, so we'll be working twice as hard to make up for his not being here.
Thrice as hard, even.
Thank you, both of you. I'm sure we'll find that beacon in no time.
I'm not seeing anything out here. Do you reckon you could squeeze in there, Wedge?
And get stuck halfway? No, thank you.
I could try if you like.
Tataru, no! We couldn't ask you to do that.
Oh, I'll be fine. This receptionist is not afraid to get her hands dirty.
Sorry, I meant to say, the scholars haven't finished their preliminary assessment of the site yet, so we're not supposed to venture too far in. What's that you got there? Now that looks promising.
Isn't that the Ironworks symbol? Counterfeiters?
Now I have you.
You are right.
What's happening?
Stay with me. Focus on my voice. Let expanse contract. Eon become instant.
Wait, this must be it. The device. Well, this is supposed to happen.
Throw wide the gates that we may pass.
Safe journey, warrior of light. Find our friends and bring them home.
Yeah, this is supposed to happen. It's not at all horrifying. And now I'm in space. Space! And now I'm flying through space. Whee! Time to see all the PTSD-inducing moments from our past. Or chiffon, no.
This is one battle you cannot fight. Away with you.
We did everything right. Everything that was asked of us, and still it came to this.
time has not yet come.
Got purple bushes. That's fun and exciting. Purple trees. Also, it's really fucking bright out.
From endless dreams I awake. Something vague, yet urgent, calls me to action once more.
Rare to meet someone out here who's not a peddler themselves. What brings you into the wilds this time of night?
Night. It's bright as day.
Well, if it ain't the oldest joke in the book. Me granddad, God's rest his soul, used to tell that one to the barman at kicking out time. And when, pray tell, did we last have a dark night? You rotten old drunk yet, he'd reply. Over 100 bleeding years ago, that's when. You got that look down to a T. I'd almost think you meant it. Ah, got to you, did they? Poor beggar. That explains it then. Well, I've roads to travel and wares to sell, but you'd best hurry along to the town nearby. Just head east through the trees and aim for the Shining Tower. You'll find the place soon enough. 'Tis the biggest settlement for malms around. Go on now, friend. They'll take good care of you in the Crystarium. dizzying heights it rises. The gleaming spire. Its tip threatening to pierce the blinding canopy. There, it will all begin anew. Between dark and light. The pure and the corrupt. The one true struggle.
So we find us here in this weird-ass purple place. In a weather called Everlasting Light. Where night is day and day is day. Exactly. And somehow the Crystal Tower is here. But certainly not home, so that makes no sense. Mayhap it's a different Crystal Tower, but it certainly looks the same.
Halt! Every face in this city I know. Yours, I do not. This is the threshold of the Crystarium, stranger, and I am its gatekeeper. If you would enter, you will answer my questions.
You fun girl.
From where do you hail?
Ulda?
Do you take me for a fool? No such place exists.
But
had you given me an honest answer, I would not have barred your way. We care little here for a person's place of origin, but instead, you chose concealment, and I will not suffer you to pass. That one had eaten. It must have gulped down the whole hand, ring and all.
R.I.P. Unnamed Merchant. 2022 to 2022.
Everything all right, Captain?
Quite all right, my lord. Just a stray sin eater, and a weak one at that.
I see. Weak or not, we should be on the lookout for more. But I see you've met my guest. I will escort her to the Crystarium myself, if you've no objections.
Another of your mysterious friends, is it? I should have known. Very well. I'll inform the others your guest is to be given the run of the city. Pray forgive my less than cordial welcome. May the rest of your stay with us be a pleasant one.
Now you.
Come with me. I will answer whatever questions you have when we are somewhere.
I'm gonna punch you in the mouth, sir. Dude, Kurt Gate Guardian, that's not the last you're gonna see of her. She's the MVP of this X-Pack. She's a good girl.
Right then. Before we plunge into the wheres and wherefores, let me first thank you for answering my summons. I had
had intended to bring you directly to my personal quarters, but I fear my aim was slightly off. That you were still able to make the crossing unharmed is a great relief. And so, we come to the question of where. The realm in which you now find yourself belongs to one of the 13 reflections, or shards. The first, to be precise, even if its inhabitants are largely oblivious to the fact. As to wherefore, having been awarded the rather grandiose title of Crystal Exarch, I, in my capacity as caretaker of the Crystarium, thought to seek the aid of you and your companions.
You have any idea how much trouble you've caused?
An inkling, yes. I can only beg your forgiveness. Matters here forced my hand, but all shall be explained in due course, I promise you. Let us begin with the glaring skies up above. Here in the first, the world has been all but consumed by primordial light. It began a century ago, by this realm's reckoning. A luminous flood swallowing everything in its path. More than 9/10 of this star was lost. And the fortunate few who survived are hounded by abominations born of that catastrophe even now. Sin Eaters, we call them. The creature you saw earlier was one such monstrosity. It was to save the first from this menace that I learned to bridge the rift between worlds. That I might call upon the aid of the greatest of heroes. And though it meant depriving a world of its champion, I had to try, for in saving the first, you would bring salvation to the source as well. But what manner of host harangues his guests in the middle of the road? Let us continue our talk within the Crystarium.
Such a proud and vibrant city. The sole sanctuary for the living in a world all but resigned to oblivion. Each stone was laid with hope. The town itself a symbol, a monument to defiance in the face of death. No would-be hero could fail to answer its call. For who among us does not yearn for salvation?
I'm gonna try. I've tried to fix like the character voices just feel way too quiet. We're just gonna like drop the background music, and this voice is literally the fucking like huffing and puffing of the character. It's not cutscene. And here we are. Welcome, my friend, to the Crystarium. Now, a full and frank discussion in the privacy of my study would seem to be in order. But I think our conversation would be more meaningful were you to first gain a firmer grasp of the situation here. To that end, I would like you to visit a few of the Crystarium's civic leaders and glean something of this world and its predicament. As you can see, this path will take you directly to the Aetheryte, a convenience with which I am sure you are only too familiar. Being the rightful object of my summoning spell, you should, in theory, be able to reach all the way back along your etheric trail and find a connection to the source, believe it or not. I strongly suggest you complete this attunement before venturing any further. After you have done so, walk up the steps next to the Aetheryte and head out to the left to arrive at the Crystalline Mean. This is where you will find our collective of crafters and gatherers, as well as their spokeswoman, Catelys, one of the people I should like you to meet. Another is Morin. To reach him and his Cabinet of Curiosity, you will want to avoid the aforementioned steps, take the exit on the left, and simply continue straight along the path until you come to the larger doors at the end of the path. The third and final person I should like you to meet is Bragi, our man in charge of trade and distribution. He is to be found in the markets, which you can access from the opposite side of the Aetheryte Plaza. In seeking out each of my colleagues, you will visit the major districts of the city, and hopefully gain a feel for the place. I trust my directions were simple enough. So clear. Ha! Very good. I concede the layout of the Crystarium owes much to historic necessity than planning, but I'm sure you'll learn its twists and turns before long. In all honesty, the true challenge may be in finding the right way to approach its citizens. As you discovered during your encounter with the captain, the people of this world are unaware of the existence of the other stars, and will struggle to accept the truth of your origin. That being the case, when they ask whence you hail, as they inevitably will, I suggest you claim to share a homeland with the Crystal Exarch. There's an unspoken rule here about peering too deeply into that particular mystery. When you've finished making the rounds, pray meet me in the large courtyard at the center of town. Till then. Yeah, the camera angles, the cinematic portion of this X-Pack was significantly improved. Like, they really pulled out all the stops with the Shadowbringers, just compared to the other three. I think they really started to get their footing here, and then Endwalker they made even better somehow, even though no one knows how they did that. Everyone was like, nope, Shadowbringers is going to be the best, and then Endwalker just kept on fucking rolling. By focusing your senses, you detect the flow of a vastly different currents of aether. Your connection to these energies is faint but stable, and should allow teleportation to aetherites in the source. Basically, you're not stuck here. Alright, I could walk around like you said, or I could not. Go to Crystalline Mean. Who uses their feet like a peasant? I'm from the future. I'm already attuned to all places. Rare to see a place so well stocked with goods, isn't it? Not here. I'm gonna guess that you're new to our fair city. Well, for what it's worth, you've chosen a fine sanctuary. The Exarch can throw up a barrier if the Sin Eaters come knocking, so it's a damn sight safer in here than it is out there. Safer and more civilized, too, thanks to us in the Mean. We work together to procure materials and resources, and craft the goods which make city life possible. This is the place to visit if you ever need a coat mended or a kettle forged. Don't go thinking it'll all be handed to you on a plate like those Yulmoran layabouts. Here in the Crystarium, we work for a living. Though I see you're no stranger to honest labor. You don't have a whiff of indolence about you like some folk I've met. Still, I can't quite pin down your profession. Where is it you're from? One of the Exarch's countrymen, you say? I see. Well then, I'll work twice as hard to make you feel welcome. Our city wouldn't even exist if it weren't for him, and any friend of his is a friend of ours. It's really incredible when you think about it. They say his grand magic summoned the Crystal Tower into existence, pulled the entire thing out of thin air. It wasn't long before droves of refugees began congregating around its base, just desperate for shelter after losing their homes to the flood. And that's how the Crystarium began. At the Exarch's invitation, buildings started going up, and with the help of some curious relics brought forth from the tower, the place gradually expanded into the thriving metropolis you see today. The city stood here for decades now, yet the eldest among us swear the Exarch looks exactly the same as he did back then. He is indeed a man of many mysteries, but for all of his secrecy, he has never yet let us down. So if he, and you, wish to remain silent about your shared homeland, then the folk here will respect your wish for privacy. I am, however, more than a little curious to see any crafting talent you might be hiding. If you've ought to contribute on that front, be sure to come back and visit once you've had a chance to settle in. Just ask for Catless, and I'll help find you a niche here in the crystalline mean. You can help us keep the cogs of the city greased and turning. Well, Kinliana happens to be a bit of a blacksmith, so she'll be back. I have all my crafters leveled to 90 because I have no life, but blacksmith is her canon craft. Excuse me, miss. Are you recently come to the city, perchance? I'm quite familiar with our civic roles, you see, and, well, ahem. What I mean to ask is, have you brought any books with you? A rumpled scroll, even? A scrap of scribble on parchment? My apologies. Literature is something of an obsession of mine, as well as a profession. Librarian Morin at your service, and this humble collection is known as the Cabinet of Curiosity. Your powers of perception have likely informed you. My colleagues and I are responsible for curating all manner of tomes, documents, and other vehicles for the written word. As horrific as the loss of life and land wrought by the flood unquestionably was, the damage to recorded knowledge was no less catastrophic. We few do all we can to preserve that wisdom, what wisdom survived. But tell me, what brings you to the cabinet today? Looking for a title in particular? Mayhap a spot of academic research? Oh, so you have an interest in modern history. Splendid. A thorough review of recent events can often yield a novel perspectives. I quite agree. You prefer something visual to accompany the account? Then I think I have an illustrated history book for children somewhere. Just a moment, I'll fetch it for you. And here we are. Would you like to pull up a chair? Make yourself more comfortable. On with the lesson, then. A 100 years ago, or near enough not to matter, villains known as the Warriors of Light slew the Shadowkeeper, the Steward of Darkness. In the wake of this tainted deed, light began to pour into the world as if from unseen cracks. It pooled and swelled without cease until one day an enormous, blinding wave rose up and swept across our star. We called this calamity the Flood of Light. Everything it touched was leached for life and vigor, leaving naught behind but a luminous wasteland. Yet just when it all seemed it would be lost, a savior appeared before us. The Oracle of Light. She stood twixt us and approaching doom, and by her power did she stay the flood. Thus was Norvrent, and Norvrent alone spared the fate of erasure. Tragedy would, however, arrive in another form. From the blasted emptiness descended horrors of strange and terrible aspect to bedevil the few folk who survived. These sin-eaters were light incarnate, and their fulgent presence stole the night from Norvrent's sky. Even now they circle the remaining bastions of civilization, ever on the hunt for us, ever hungering for our flesh. And thus did the world become what it is. Should you ever wish to hear the tale again, I would be glad to retell it for you. Or if you would rather I speak of other matters, that too would be my pleasure. I'd be glad of the company. Some horrible demons called the Warriors of Light destroyed the Shadowkeeper, huh? Something tells me that's not quite accurate. New to the city, friend. The spinning head and wide eyes give you away. Welcome, my name is Bragi, and I'm the master of these markets. They give the district another official title, but I'm not in the habit of using it. I'm floored by half. In any case, our merchants stock a range of equipment for drawns such as yourself, so finding something in your size shouldn't be a problem. I'm sorry, did you say drawn? I'm actually an Aura. Must be a dialect I'm not familiar with. Let's see if we can straighten this out. See those two in front of us? The shorter one is a Hume. The taller one is an elf. The sturdy individual over there is a Galgant, whilst the other one with the horns is a Drawn, like you. And then you have the large, scaly folk with long tails and a knack for raising livestock. Those would be the Zune. Which is apparently not the name you know them by. I'm curious to know what far-flung region you hail from. Ah, the same as the XIV, eh? Well, that explains it. You don't get much farther flung than that. We've had a few of your lot pass through in recent years, and despite their obvious learning, they've floundered over the simplest things. But worry not. Should you find yourself confused by the local language or customs, I'll be here to answer your questions. I love that the alternate version of Elizin is just elf. Yeah, they're elves. Like that, I feel like that should be the normal one. But no, just elf. Plus Humes instead of Highlander, which is very interesting. No, it's Highlander and Midlander. But what are they? I don't remember what the full... It's not Hume, obviously. Highlander and Midlander, but what's their overarching race? I can't remember. Because we're like Zayla and Ran, Aura. I don't know, I don't play humans. Humans are boring. Well, how did you fare? Did my colleagues help you form a clearer picture of the world and its people? I have to change my minion. Yes, it seems you were treated to a most thorough introduction. I understand it was something of a chore, but it was necessary that you grasp these things before we proceed. As for the Crystal Tower's origin, you may have noted the details were sparse. The structure is, in fact, the self-same one you know from the source, transported to the First in its entirety. My first attempt at breaching the boundaries between worlds, something of a trial run for your eventual crossing, and although I do not know which era I tore it from, I do know that its arrival served to set the Wheel of Fate in motion. Alright, so I was using Shinryu for Stormblood. So now, who do we got here that's gonna give Shadowbringer vibes? I want Shadowbringer vibes. Well, I could... Yeah, maybe Reen. Or Gaia. We're not gonna see much of Gaia, because, that's Raid's story. We're not gonna do that for a while. Yeah, let's have a little Gaia follow us around. You've done as I requested, and learned something of the world in which you find yourself. Now it is time I fulfilled my half of the bargain, and explained what has befallen your comrades. This is a conversation I would rather have in privacy of my quarters, however. I must go on ahead to the tower and organize a few things, but I shall see that guard knows to admit you. Just like that, then Grahati is... I am not familiar with that name. Is there something I should know? Yeah, he sealed himself in the tower. Extraordinary tale, but I'm afraid I found no such individual residing in the tower when it passed into my care. Mayhap we can revisit that mystery another time. For now, I think it best we focus on the present. Yeah, Grahati sealed himself away for such a time where man would be prepared to deal with the powers of the tower in a way that wasn't terrible. Greetings, madam. The Exarch awaits you within.
Welcome to the Ocular, my private study. We can speak here without fear of being overheard. I have much to explain, but the truths which I must touch upon in doing so would cause only distress and confusion to the people of this world. Pray keep that in mind. Now, I am sure you are desperate to know the fate of your fellow scions. To put it simply, they are here in the First. Their arrival, however, was not as recent as you may imagine. Here, time flows at a different pace from that of the Source. In the space of a single hour in your home world, an entire year might pass in the First, and the reverse could also be true. The pace fluctuates without rhyme or reason, and it cannot be predicted. That said, we seem to be entering a period of near equivalence. And thus, for the moment, you need not overly concern yourself with the passage of time. As for your companions, however, Y'shtola and Urianger have dwelt here for 3 winters, all told, while Thancred's count stands at 5. Even our more recent arrivals, Alphino and Alize, have lived in the First for almost a year. My intention had been to summon only you, but the art of reaching across worlds has proven exceedingly difficult to master. Thus it was that my fumbling hand closed upon those to whom your fate is most closely bound as well. As they were not the object of my summons, their transference was incomplete. Though they may appear to possess corporeal bodies, they are, in truth, merely spirits that one can see and touch. Consequently, while you yourself will be able to pass between worlds with relative freedom, they will not. Much as it grieves me, they are stranded here, unable to return.
Then find a way to send them back.
We spent every waking hour searching for a way to reverse the summoning. In the beginning, at least. As you may have surmised, however, our efforts met with little success. And then we all but abandoned the endeavor once Urianger shared with us the vision he had witnessed during his journey through the rift. In that chaotic no-man's land between realms, time and space warp and blend in unexpected ways. What Urianger saw was the future, that which would one day come to pass. In his vision of tomorrow, the First was rejoined with the Source. This collision of worlds brought about the 8th umbral calamity and the deaths of countless multitudes. Amongst those who perished, Urianger clearly saw the fall of the Scion's mightiest champion. He watched you die. And thus did the Scions embrace their exile, and began searching this world for a means to forestall the coming catastrophe in yours. Their souls are stranded in the First, yes, but they have fought on, desperate to save their home and you from destruction. Nor have their efforts been in vain, for it was they who finally established that the elimination of the Sin Eaters will indeed serve to prevent the calamity. Considering these circumstances of our meeting, you would be forgiven for doubting my version of events. And so, before all else, I would suggest you track down your comrades and hear the tale from their lips. I shall of course be happy to assist in these reunions, and you need not make any decisions regarding your involvement until you are certain of where you stand. Meanwhile, I promise I will not rest until I have found a way to help your friends return home. What say you? Have I earned your trust for the moment, at least?
Aye, but I'll see you keep that promise.
Excellent. You will not regret this. With that settled, we shall have to see about getting you ready for the road. Traveling across the rift has no doubt left you weary. I will arrange for a room where you might rest in comfort. While it's being prepared, perhaps I can show you around.
Crystarium boasts a number of residential districts, but I have been informed that a room has just become available at Dependence. Which, as it turns out, is perfect. Our path there will take us past the markets, and I was hoping to give you my own introduction to their wares. Come along. Sure, I already looked at the markets. Had me talk to Bragi. Bragi was in the market.
This is the Musica Universalis, the commercial heart of the Crystarium. What you might need to prepare for your journeys can be purchased here. Ah, yes. You must be curious about the currency. Fear not. The gil you carry will serve you well enough. Each nation once minted its own coins, but 'twas all a jumbled mess following the flood. After much debate, the local merchants eventually elected to revert to the old ways, wherein a coin's value was decided by the worth of its metal. As for a unit of measurement, we agreed upon the term gil, a word borrowed from coins uncovered within the Crystal Tower here. And as our traders peddled their wares across the land, so too did our usage of gil become common practice. From what your stola tells me, a standard coin from the source equates to exactly 1 gil here, or near enough not to matter. Our way of life has benefited greatly from the artifacts we recovered from the tower, some of which may be familiar to you.
Literally cell phones. Tombstones. Cell phones. Facepalm.
But I fear it would not be practical for us to provide everything to which you are accustomed. You shall need a means to access the commodities of your homeworld.
Are you there, my friend?
Yes, I'm here. Of course I'm here. What amusements do you have for me today?
One of the best characters of Shadowbringers right here.
My dear Feo Ul, paragon of pixie kind. For you, I have the most vital task. This fine lady is a friend from a distant realm. And we have need of a means to ferry things back and forth from her home. Might you be able to assist us in this matter?
from beyond, didn't you? From beyond the rift. How wonderfully exciting. What a brave and reckless and marvelous thing you did. You've the heart of a pixie, you do. After careful consideration, I have decided to grant you my assistance. Make a pact with me and the fun can begin. But answer me this, traveler. Did your garments come with you when you crossed over? Your teeth? Your nails? Just as I thought! Then you've a good stout connection with your home through which all your belongings, great and small, may easily pass. From this moment forth I will be your Isne Fis, and you my Sne Yak. Like the branch which sprouts from the sapling, our bond will flow unbroken from one to the other. Raise your hand.
Hey, my beautiful branch.
Tis done. We are bound now, dearest sapling. Come then. Make your request. Tell me your desire. I wish to visit this world of yours.
Mayhap a message to your friends in the Source to inform them of your safe arrival.
Send a message to Tataru. The poor girl.
Consider it done.
As you heard, that was Feo Uld of the Pixies. Their kind possess an affinity for magic akin to that of arcane beings. They rarely show themselves in populated areas, but Feo is insatiably curious even by Pixie standards, and seems to have taken a liking to the Crystarium. Right, we were going to organize a room for you, weren't we? Come along.
Feo Ul is a wonderful character. And we have not seen the last of her. As a result of your pact with Feo Ul, you now have access to delivery moogles, market boards, and summoning bells while in the first. Deus Ex Machina, you can keep all your shit even though you're in an alternate dimension. Ah, there you are. I was just finalizing the matter of your accommodation. You have a private room here at the Pendants for the duration of your stay, to make use of as you see fit. When you are ready to retire, the manager will show you to your lodgings. Pray rest and recuperate, and we shall reconvene in the ocular anon. I believe that covers all of the practical concerns. Thank you for answering my call, Kinliana. We are denied the comforting blanket of night, but may peaceful dreams attend you nonetheless. Pleasure to meet you, miss, and welcome to your new home at the Pendants. Your room is ready, if you'd care to retire. You.
I know you. You're the warrior of light from the Source.
And who are you? Oh, that would be so bad. Dude, this guy tried to kill us because he was trying to save his own world. He gave his own life. And you would just be like, and who are you? Oh, no, God. The Warrior of Darkness.
What? Did you just... You can hear me? Oh, gods, how long has it been? That was what I called myself in your world. The Warrior of Darkness. My real name is Ardbert. I used an alias in the source, a daft one, looking back. If you recall my tale, it was my comrades and I who caused the flood. We thought our home doomed. And so we listened to the Ascians. Let them guide us to the source and try to hasten their goddamned ardor. I remember when we fell, defeated by you and yours. I remember our audience with Minfilia, how she listened to our pleas and returned our souls to the First. The flood was poised to swallow Norvrant. Minfilia and my friends, they surrendered what little they had left to hold it back. Just faded away, leaving me to bear witness. Tell me, do you know the year? How much time has passed since we caused the flood? A 100 years. 100 long years. My hands find no purchase. My gestures catch no eye, and my pleas, be they whispered or screamed, reach not a single ear. I am a shade, cursed to do naught but drift. I feel as if I've been walking forever. I hardly noticed when my mind and body began to fray at the edges. Then bang! My senses were sharp again. I felt like a fish being reeled in, and before I knew it, I found myself in this room. Why is it that you can see me? What are you even doing here, come to that? You were summoned to save the First. A waste of time. This world is beyond saving, like those who try to save it. Muddled as my mind may be, I've not forgotten that. But if fate has brought me to you, the one person in this God's-forsaken world who can see and hear me, then perhaps there is a reason I endured. If I can find out why I was left behind, then maybe I can bring this journey of mine to an end. Well, I'll be watching, Warrior of Light.
Oh God, Exarch.
But do me a favor. Be careful out there. This world has had its fill.
Exarch, you gave me a haunted bedroom. I can't believe you've done this. God, I love the plank sleeping stance. Alright. Add the oculus, huh? Yeah, so the soul of the warrior of darkness, the one who tried to kill us to restore the balance, save his world, when he tried to hasten the rejoining. His soul's just wandering around, and for some reason we're the only one who can see and hear him. All of his friends perished, supposedly along with Minfilia, stopping the flood 100 years ago. Mistress Kinliana, the Exarch awaits you within.
Ah, how did you find your new quarters?
You gave me a haunted bedroom. I had a ghostly visitor. Her fucking done face.
I was not aware the room was haunted, and you were rather tired. Well, should you receive another visitation, be sure to let me know. Now, let us return to the subject of the Scion's whereabouts. This map shows the lands of Norvrand, the only area to be spared the flood of light. The Crystarium is here, in the region known as Lakeland. And to the north is the fairy kingdom of Ilmeg. That is where you'll find Urianger. To the east lies the once prosperous civilization of Rak-Tika. Your Stola is stationed there, in the heart of the forest. Alas, neither location can be reached without considerable difficulty. As such, I would suggest you first seek out one of the twins, each of whom is stationed but a short flight from the Crystarium. Alphino is on Calusia, an island off the western shore. It is home to a city called Yulmore, where the rich and privileged while away their days in idleness. For his part in furthering our cause, Alphino journeyed there to meet with the citizenry and forge alliances. From what I hear, he has since kept himself busy gathering information around the main settlement. Alize, meanwhile, traveled south to the arid wastes of Armareng. They lie upon the very edge of the inhabitable world, where the flood of light was halted. Those who dwell there live in constant fear of attack by the Sin-Eaters. In contrast to her brother, Alize felt that her energies would better be spent learning about the enemy, and thus she sells her services as a guard, both to hone her skills and gather information on our foes.
Sounds like an Alize thing to do.
So, will it be Calicia or Armareng? It matters not which you choose to visit first. Simply inform me once you have made your decision, and I will see to it that you are provided with a suitable mount.
Y'all know I want to go visit Alize first, but story flow is better if you go for Alphino.
Ah, but you must be wondering about Thancred. He has taken up with a new companion, and is presently engaged as a wandering hunter of Sin-Eaters. Being ever on the move, his whereabouts are often difficult to ascertain, but I am certain your paths will cross ere long.
Yeah, the flow of the expansion is far better if you go after Alphino first, because in Alize's section, shit hits the fan. Meanwhile, Alphino is all about politics in search of Alphino. We'll visit Alfino and Calusia then. Excellent. As I mentioned, your destination is an island off the west coast. You'll need a mount capable of making the journey. Here's a letter of introduction, presented to Zem Jemail. Genmai, the master of beasts at Tenemos Rookery, and he will take care of you. When you see Alfino, be sure to pass on my warmest regards. Yeah, in proper new expansion fashion, the first two zones are interchangeable. You can go to either one in either order. They give you a quest for both of them. I'm gonna go after Alfino. Agree. Don't know if I'll finish this whole section tonight. I am starting to get a little tired, but we'll see. Your face is unknown to me. What business have you at my rookery? Signed by the Exarch, no less. Yes, I can provide you with an Amaro for passage to Calusia. I will pick you out a friendly whelp. Not a chocobo, then. Chocobo? You hail from one of Norvern's more isolated settlements, perchance. I hear there are a few places where they ride little else. But here in the Crystarium, mounts like that grey fellow there are far more commonly used. Seeing as you are plainly unaccustomed to riding Amaro, I think it best I accompany you on this first flight myself. Any Zune worthy of the name could do it, of course, but the Exarch sent you to me. Ensuring you arrive safely is my responsibility. Gather your things and meet me at the Amaro launch. One of the junior tamers will attend to you while I ready the mounts. You want to fly an Amaro to Calusia? Well, I suppose if Master Genmai is going with you. Wait here, please. The Master should be along with the mounts shortly. You can now use the Aether Compass.
The whistling breeze, mute. The pounding surf, frozen. Time itself takes a breath. At light's edge, all is perfectly still. The world captured in a painting, locked in a moment. Music, faint and fleeting, drifts coastward on the lifeless air. And in the distance, beyond the broken earth, a city beckons.
We are arrived. This is Cracked Shell Beach, on the eastern coast of Calusia. You should be safe here for the present. Compared to the mainland, Sin-Eater attacks are far less prevalent, and the native beasts are not any more dangerous than elsewhere. It is the people you should be wary of. By that city in the distance, that is Yulmore, the island's main settlement. It rivals the Crystarium in scale and was once an ally in our battle against the Abominations. For years, the Yulmoran elite have fancied themselves the masters of what remain of our broken world. They have gone as far as to offer the leaders of other settlements their protection, if we bend the knee. But to say their ideals are questionable would be putting it mildly. The Crystarium is one among many who resist their heavy-handed authority, and while we are not at war, our relationship with Yulmore is strained at best. It would be wise to conceal your ties with the Exarch during your stay here, especially in the vicinity of the city. I'm glad we understand each other. Now, the Exarch has instructed me to divulge a secret that should make finding your friend a good deal easier. Listen closely. If you head south along the coast, you'll eventually come to a fisherman's shack. A friend of the Crystarium lives there, a man who goes by the name of Ivor. Ivor keeps an eye on everything that happens in Calusia, and will be able to point you in the right direction. Just hand him a spring of time that will let him know you can be trusted. Here, this should be enough. Find your friend, and I will stay here with the Amaro until you are ready to return. What are you after? Fish? Crab? I think I got an eel in a barrel somewhere if you taste for him. Have a taste for him. Ooh, I do love a bit of thyme. Chuck some in a pan and it's like a bloody festival of flavor. Now, what can I do for you? Can't say there's been any major upsets to report in these past few weeks. Alfino, eh? Aye, I know the one. Our young champion of the downtrodden. Gilmore's richer than all in Orvent put together, but it's a different story for them as live outside the city. Most spend every waking moment just trying to stay alive, which makes your friend's dedication to helping others stand out all the more. Aye, I can hazard a guess as to where he is now. Get a message to him, but you'll need somewhere quiet to meet, away from prying eyes. Make for Stilltide. That's the fishing village just up the path there. You're looking for a rundown excuse for a tavern the locals call the Leaky Keel. Wait there and I'll see that Alfino joins you. This is your first time in a tavern. It's customary to buy a drink if you mean to loiter. What do you be having? I'll take some ale. Fine choice. And what do you be paying with? Well now, those are exotic. Where'd you come by coins like that? Sorry, dear, but I don't doubt they have value, but I don't have a touchstone to test their purity, and I'm not about to go begging for one of the neighbors. So we'll just have to come to some other arrangement. Ah, here's an idea. There's a common to the north where we grow our vegetables, but lately the pests have been eating more of them than we have. What do you say about a bit of an extermination work? I want you to squash the vermin you find, then visit the caretaker and give him an earful from me for sleeping on the job. He'll be in the old silo next to the fence, snoring like his lot. Do that for me, and you can laze about here as long as you like. Is that a B rank? That is a B rank. I wonder how long this will take to kill. I wonder if I can kill it. Let's find out. Oh yeah, I can kill it. Easy peasy. I'm an achievement whore, what can I say? Oh god, let's go with that guy. No response. Maybe you need to knock louder. No response. Perhaps the occupant is hard of hearing? You're a faint squeaking from the room beyond. Time to burst in and save the day, brave adventurer. No one is home. And judging by the lack of furniture, they haven't been for some time. The odd scraps of vegetables on the floor suggest rats have taken up residence in their absence. Welcome back, dear. What that good-for-nothing caretaker have to say for himself? You know, he's super gone. Gone? Huh. Must have left to join the rest of the hopefuls. In Gate Town. Outside Yulmore? Don't have a clue what I'm talking about, do you? And there I was thinking you were another dreamer. Well, never mind that. Take a seat wherever you like, dear. You've more than earned it. I'll even throw in another drink on the house.
And how is business today, Mistress Theva?
Oh, frenetic. Look, I have a new customer.
Tis good to see you, my friend. The barley seeds you wanted. They should produce a better harvest than the last.
What, just like that? Oh, wow, Finno, you really are a dear. Well, I'd best be tidying up some of those empty shacks before the pests move in. Keep an eye on the place while I'm out, eh?
It seems an age since last we spoke. Not since the prisoner exchange in Doma. And Yotsu. It has been even longer for me, of course, if you count the days I've spent here. But the time has only added to the relief I feel seeing you safe and well.
We thought we'd lost you.
Alize said much the same thing. I don't think I've ever had such a scolding. But I believe an exchange of news is in order. Come, tell me of your arrival and all that came before. I see. Both the Exarch and Alize told me what they knew of events, but I had stubbornly clung on to the hope that all-out war might yet be avoidable. And poor Tataru. She must be sick with worry. We must endeavor to return as soon as we may. It would be nice to bring her good tidings for a change. But before we bid this world farewell, we must first ensure that it is not rejoined to the source. We must prevent the 8th Umbral calamity. Urianger's vision of the future has, I fear, every chance of coming true. By his description, the catalyst for the calamity was a formless and deadly weapon employed by the Garlean Empire. Which can only mean one thing. Black Rose. Gaius was telling you the truth. When we were on the trail of the Ascians, we saw evidence that the gas was being manufactured once more. Gaius was adamant that the project had been scrapped. But so long as there are wars to be waged, there will always be those determined to win by any means. And thus simply destroying the existing stores of Black Rose would do little to alter fate's course. In that sense, our involuntary journey here to the First was something of a boon. Together with the Exarch, we've developed a theory as to how we believe the rejoining will be set in motion. I'm sure Urianger himself will cover the subject in more detail. But I can tell you the process requires that both worlds, the Source and the First, be facing an existential threat. One being Sin Eaters, of course.
They are a menace that I would dearly love to remove, and not just to avert a calamity. I may be a stranger to this world, but I will not stand idly by and let innocent people be slaughtered. That is what brought me to the gates of Yulmore. Ignoring its pretensions as a kind of capital city to what remains of the world, it is nonetheless a center of power and authority. If any solutions are to be found, I believe our search should begin there. What say you, old friend? Hungry for another adventure?
Honestly, Elfie, I'm kind of tired of adventures. Last adventure I went on, y'all died on me.
And so we take to the road once more.
Alright. Having reunited with Alfino, I believe that is where we are going to leave it off for tonight. Just wanted to get into the thick of it. The Alfino Alize split is the beginning, and then shit just pops off from there and never really stops. So, that'll be that for me. Raid is tomorrow at 5 o'clock. But I'll probably wake up and just start streaming when I wake up o'clock, as I often do on the weekends. And I'm undecided if I'll do more New Game Plus or Berseria. One of those things will happen, and I will post in the Discord as usual when it will be happening.